You know, when you think made in China, what comes to mind? Probably gleaming, futuristic factories cranking out iPhones and the latest fashion trends, right? Well, what if I told you that's only half the story? Today, we're going to pull back the curtain on China's industrial heartland, a place that might look like a relic, but is actually the secret to its entire industrial might.
So, you've got two very different Chinas. On one side, there's the one we all know, the southern deltas, the home of high-tech, speed, and agility. But then there's the Bohai Economic Rim up north. This is old-school China. We're talking heavy industry, massive state-owned companies, and yeah, slower growth. This is where they make the steel, the chemicals, the giant machinery, the very foundation that everything else is built on.
So that's the big puzzle, isn't it? If all the cool, fast-paced innovation is happening down south, why is this gritty, seemingly outdated northern region so absolutely critical to China's power on the world stage? Well, the answer is probably not what you're thinking.
To really get it, you have to stop thinking about the Bohai Rim as an engine for growth. That's not its job anymore. You have to start seeing it for what it really is, a strategic insurance policy for the entire country.
This idea of strategic insurance is everything. What it means is that this region's main purpose isn't to make a quick buck. It's to make sure that no matter what happens in the world, if supply chains snap or political tensions boil over, China can still make everything it absolutely needs to survive and thrive. It's all about self-reliance.
So what are these indispensable things? We're talking about the real heavy hitters: steel, petrochemicals, giant machinery, even stuff for their aerospace and defense programs. Look, this isn't sexy consumer electronics. This is the foundational stuff that, without it, those shiny factories in the south, well, they couldn't even turn the lights.
So how did this place get so different from the rest of the country? Well, it was no accident. Its whole character was built by design, and its roots go deep into China's planned economy past.
I mean, just look at the history here. This region was an industrial powerhouse way back. Then it became the absolute core of Mao's big industrial push. For a while, it kind of got left behind when the market reforms made the South explode with growth, but now its role has been completely reframed. It's not about leading the pack anymore, it's about being the nation's critical safety net.
And this quote just nails it. The companies here weren't built to be nimble or chase the latest market trends. Not at all. They were designed for two things: massive scale and making sure the country could be totally self-sufficient. Their main goal was just to ensure China could always build what it needed, no matter what.
And all of this has created this totally unique ecosystem that is optimized for one thing. And it's not speed, it's stability and endurance.
This comparison is just fascinating, right? Look at the goals. Down south, it's all about speed and flexibility. Up north, security and continuity. The whole logistics system is built around huge trains and ports moving bulk material, not the just-in-time containers we're used to. And it's all coordinated from the top down by the state, which creates a really predictable, resilient system.
And if you follow the money, you'll see the exact same story. I mean, look at that chart. It's almost all state capital. They call this patient capital, and it's a huge deal. It means the state is willing to fund these enormous, long-term projects that private investors would probably run away from, all because the strategic payoff is way more important than a quick profit.
And you can't forget the people in all this. The workforce here is incredibly stable. You have families where folks have worked at the same steel mill for generations. This creates something called industrial memory, a deep, practical know-how about really complex stuff that you just can't teach in a classroom. It's priceless.
Okay, so we've covered the what and the how, but the biggest question is, why now? Why is this slow, steady, state-run region so incredibly important right now? Well, it's all about the world we're living in.
First thing, just look around. With all the geopolitical friction and trade disputes, relying on other countries for critical stuff like specialty steel becomes a massive vulnerability. Being able to make it yourself is a huge strategic advantage.
And second, I think we've all learned a hard lesson recently about just how fragile those just-in-time supply chains really are. One little disruption can stop production across the globe. The Bohai Rim's whole system is built to be a buffer against exactly that kind of chaos.
So here's the twist. All the things that used to look like weaknesses, being slow, being state-controlled, being kind of inefficient, have suddenly become its greatest strengths in this uncertain, fractured world. It provides one thing above all else: resilience.
Now, of course, it's not a perfect system. The region faces some huge challenges. They've got way too much capacity in some industries, meaning they can make more steel than anyone needs, and that has serious environmental consequences.
They're also dealing with an aging workforce and the kind of bureaucratic inertia that makes change happen at a snail's pace.
But this quote really just sums it all up. What was once seen as a rusty anchor holding back China's economy is now understood to be the very insurance policy that keeps the whole ship afloat. It's a complete 180 in perspective.
Which leaves us with a pretty big question to think about. In a world where supply chains can snap overnight and tensions can flare up in an instant, what's really more valuable? The ability to move fast or the ability to endure? The story of the Bohai Rim suggests that maybe, just maybe, slow and steady is what wins the race.